Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm really sorry for the delay on this one. I came down with a cold the day before I was supposed to do this voiceover, which meant I couldn't really do anything until I felt better. Thank you to those of you who wish me well, I really appreciate it. I'm better now though, so let's talk about today's challenge. Today we'll be taking on another Fool's Gold Monotype challenge. Last time we took the Ice type for a spin, so make sure to watch that video if you haven't already. I put out a poll asking which type you wanted to see next, and the winner of that poll was the Flying type. So today we find out, can you beat Pokemon Fool's Gold using only Flying types? Flying types are usually considered to be one of the more boring types out there, but I'm personally a big fan. Pokemon like Dodrio, Pidgeot, and of course Delibird are some of my favourites overall. This ROM hack gives quite a few Pokemon the Flying type as well, so we're really going to be spoilt for choice here. Quick rundown of the rules for those who haven't seen the last video. I can only use Flying type Pokemon in battle, but I can use other Pokemon for HMs if I need them. No items allowed in battle, and I must play in set mode just to add a little extra challenge. Quick shout out goes to these people who found DD in the last video. Find him in this one and comment down below with the timestamp for a chance to be featured next time. Alright then, let's see how the Flying type stacks up. Let's do this. I start the game, pick the female character and call her Suzune. As always, comment down below if you get the reference. I pick Totodile as our starter, which is a pure Flying type. It's got a pilot vibe going on in its design. Surely this won't evolve to be extremely cursed. We easily beat our rival, who I name Zwigo, because according to Captain Unorganized, Zwigo bad, Plonker Boy good. That was their words, not mine. I then catch our first new member, which is a Yanma. In this game, it's a grass and flying type, which should really come in handy type coverage wise, especially against rock types. We then take on the first gym leader Faulkner, but our flying types are superior to his. We just easily sweep aside his entire team with Yanma, pretty much the perfect start. Before facing the second gym, Totodile evolves into Croconaw, and then we face Bugsy. Once again though, this was an easy battle. Yanma deals with the electric type Ledibur and even does some solid damage to Venonat, but we get hit with a Supersonic, so I decide to switch. From here, Croconaw can just one by one sweep the rest of his team with Wing Attack, earning us an easy second badge. Before leaving Azalea, we easily beat Zwigo, and I go on a bit of a catching spree. Using Headbutt, I find myself a Hoothoot, which is a steel flying type. This could be like a special attacking Skarmory or something. I also pay a visit to this house here, where the man inside will sell you a random Pokemon each day. A couple of these are flying types, so I keep resetting until I eventually get one, which is a Voltorb. It's a rock and flying type, which means yet more type coverage. I then catch a Coughing purely because it's the best design I've ever seen. And to round off our team, I pick up the Spearow north of Goldenrod. In this game, it loses its normal type in favour of Dragon type. Yep, we actually get to use a dragon in this playthrough. I then evolve Hoothoot into Noctowl and Spearow into Fearow, and then take on Whitney. This was surprisingly another easy fight. We actually end up sweeping her entire team with nothing but Croconaw. I guess you could say we've been flying through this run so far. I'm sorry. Before facing the next gym, we have to face Zwigo once again. Weeping Bell is first and resists flying types, as it is pure steel. Kenya has the move Ember though, but unfortunately our special attack is pretty bad, so we don't really deal much damage, and fall to a couple of Aurora Beams. Croconaw swoops in to finish it with a Mud Slap though, and next out is his starter Quilava. It has Quick Attack which does take us out, so I switch in Voltorb who has Rock Throw. It deals some great damage actually, and he doesn't even try to attack us. Another brings it down, and his final two Pokemon Magnemite and Zubat both go down with ease, so we win the battle without really any trouble at all. I have some advice for you, Zwigo. Get good.
Boom. Roasted.
Morty's next and leads with an Ariados. It's still part bug type though, so one single wing attack from Croconaw is all it takes. And next out is Girafarig. It's a normal and ghost type, so only weak to dark, but thankfully I have bite, so I go for it for big damage. He does set up a double team, meaning we do miss the next one, but we're still able to take it out without much trouble. Miltank is next, and this is one beefy ghost, pun intended. Our bite isn't even doing half, so I decide to switch in Yanma, who has the super effective grass attacks. There was a lot of back and forth going on here, with him using Defense Curl to boost his defense, and Milk Drink to stay healthy, but eventually Razor Leaf's high crit rate comes through for us, and we take it down. Marowak is last, and we get another critical hit before being confused, so I decide to switch back into Croconaw as we're hit with a Nightshade. I was hoping Bite would be enough, but unfortunately he hangs on, and we get taken out by another Nightshade. Kenya comes out and finishes it off with a couple of pecks though, and we win the 4th badge. Definitely the most difficult so far though. Before facing Chuck, Croconaw evolves into Feraligatr.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Thanks game, that's the most cursed design I've ever seen. Chuck was about as easy as you'd expect him to be, as his fighting types are weak to flying, so we didn't really struggle much here. His first Pokemon Cloyster is part Steel, so it isn't weak to flying, but Kenya has Ember to hit his weak special defense, and it goes down in a few hits easily. Hitmonchan is next, so I go for Peck, but as it is only a 35 base power move, it doesn't even do half. We do live the incoming Fire Punch, so I was hoping to hit one more, but we actually get outspared and taken out. There must have been a speed tie here. From here though, I just send in our newly evolved Feraligatr, and basically just clean up the rest of his team for an easy win. He may be cursed, but he is a strong boy. Before facing the next gym, I evolve Voltorb into an Electrode, and then we face Jasmine, where Feraligatr proves itself even more. I thought this gym would be a nightmare, as her steel types resist flying, but Feraligatr has Dig, which is super effective against her entire team. Dunsparce faints in one hit, and so does her second Pokemon Slowking, as they're both 4 times weak to ground. Quillfish is next and does use Minimize to throw a spanner in the works, but it doesn't take long to bring it down either, and last up is Victory Bell, but even that faints to a couple of digs, only landing a weak barrage. I'm pretty sure this thing has Thunderbolt or something, so it could have done some major damage, but I'll take it. A flying type sweeping a steel gym is certainly something. Price is up next and is another potentially difficult fight. Luckily for us though, we have Electrode. Ursaring is first, so I decide to start up a rollout chain, and it takes 3 hits to bring it down, but he only ever uses Fury Swipes instead of, using an ice move. Delibird gets destroyed by the 4th hit, sorry buddy, and Stantler faints to the final hit. Thanks to that Rampage, we only have Jinx to deal with, so I go for Rock Throw, which just falls short. We're just bulky enough to tank a Powder Snow however, but he does fully heal it up, as I try to finish the fight with a Gust. This was a mistake, as we then go for Rock Throw again, only for him to live on the tiniest sliver of health, and finish us off. Almost a clean sweep there. From here though, I can send in Noctowl, who easily takes another Powder Snow, and finishes it off with a tackle for the win. That's 7 badges down already, just 1 left to go. We then have to face Team Rocket once again, where we're challenged by Zwigo. He leads with Golbat, so I send in Coughing, but it very quickly becomes apparent that we're not winning this matchup, so I send in Kenya. A couple of Drill Pecks take it down as he thankfully misses a Glare, and next up is his now fully evolved starter Typhlosion. I switch into Noctowl, who's not too bothered by its ice attacks, but I don't actually have a steel type move yet, so I just go for Fly, which doesn't really do as much as I'd hoped. We get taken out by a couple more Aurora Beams, so I send an Electrode, barely survive another Aurora Beam, and take it out in 2 Rock Throws. Weepinbell is next, so I tried to set up another rollout chain, but we end up getting KO'd by a Thunderbolt. From here though, I can just send in Feraligatr to finish it off with a Dig, and the rest of his team go down easy as well. We win the fight and continue our journey. While taking on Team Rocket, Coughing finally evolves into a Weezing, and now we have a fully evolved team. We then defeat Team Rocket with ease and move on to the final gym leader, Clair. Nidoqueen is first and is 4 times weak to ice, so I send in Electrode, who actually can learn Icy Wind somehow. It takes 2 hits to knock it out, but we don't take much damage in the process, and next up is the Dragon Electric Kingdra. This is probably the biggest threat to our team. I end up missing the Icy Wind as she sets up an Agility, and to add insult to injury, she paralyzes us with a Spark. We are able to land 1 Icy Wind before going down, so I send in Yanma and go for Petal Dance, which isn't very effective, so it's not doing too much damage. We're not weak to electric though, so we're able to deal some decent damage over time, but we do eventually fall, so I send in Feraligatr and finish it off with a Dig. Muck is next, but it takes a wing attack decently well, and uses Minimize. We end up missing a couple of times and take a fair bit of damage before finally taking it down. And next up is Gyarados, who knocks us out with a Dragon Pulse after we land one more wing attack. I send in Kenya, but our only dragon move is Dragon Breath, which doesn't do a lot of damage thanks to our low special attack. We do survive the incoming Dragon Pulse though and take it out with one more Dragon Breath, and just our luck, we try to learn the move Dragon Claw when we level up. This game has the physical special split, so this should be much more useful. Clair's final Pokemon is Lapras, and sure enough, Dragon Claw deals a huge chunk of its health. We do unfortunately faint, but I have a surefire way to win. I send in Weezing, who has the move Self-Destruct. It's already an insanely powerful move, but we're a normal type, so we actually gain stab bonus on top of it. Clair does actually heal up Lapras, but even from full health, this thing can just not survive. We had Noctowl left in the back, so we win our 8th and final gym badge in explosive fashion, onwards to the Pokemon League. Before that however, we need to fight Zwigo one last time. He leads with Sneasel, so I send him for Alligator, and just easily one-shot with a wing attack. Next up is Kadabra, but it also goes down easily, and Typhlosion is next. I have Steel Wing, which is super effective, and it brings it all the way down to the red. Instead of attacking me, he just goes for Sharpen. This means we can finish it off with a wing attack, and next up is Golbat. We can take it out in a couple of bites, but we do get hit with a Glare. I was worried we'd get flinch hacks by Air Slash, but we thankfully don't flinch on the first turn, so it goes down easily. Magneton is next and we do get fully paralysed, so I decide to switch into Noctowl. We do get burned by a Tri-Attack, but a couple of Air Slashes easily deal with it, and last up is Victory Bell. We're able to bring it down all the way to the red with a few Air Slashes, simply because he refuses to use anything but Barrage, but the burn is slowly chipping away at our health, and then we end up missing the next Air Slash as he finally decides to finish us with a Flamethrower. From here though, I can just send in Electrode, who can easily outspeed, and just finish it with a Flame Wheel, winning us the battle. Now we arrive at the Pokemon League, so let's take a look at the team before we challenge the Elite Four. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by this team. I thought the flying type would be a little bit repetitive, but our team is surprisingly diverse. Feraligatr is a powerhouse, Yanma, Electrode and Noctowl offer a lot of type coverage between them, and Kenya is a great sweeper. I'm pretty confident we can beat the Elite Four without much trouble, so let's find out. First up is Psychic User Will. He leads with Apom, who immediately gets shut down by Feraligatr's Bite. Unknown almost gets taken out by a Steel Wing and hits a weak rollout before going down, and Xatu faints in a single bite as well. Crobat is next and takes over half from Bite, after landing an Air Slash. Unfortunately his next one flinches us, but we can survive the follow-up Air Slash and take care of it with one more bite. Magneton takes big damage from a bite as well, before finally ending Feraligatr's sweep with the Tri-Attack. Noctowl's Air Slash finishes it off though, and Will's final Pokemon Dragonite comes out. We trade blows with Air Slash and Psybeam, but our attacks are doing more damage than his, so we eventually come out on top and win the first match of the Elite Four. Pretty solid start. Koga's next, and the unlikely hero of this fight was actually Weezing. We have the move Confusion of all things, which is super effective against his poison types, so we actually managed to take out his Tangler, Hypno, Seeking and Macargo with relative ease. We're not going to be winning a one-on-one against Heracross, so I decide to just blow up using Explosion to take us both out. Weezing took care of 5 of Koga's Pokemon there single-handedly. His final Pokemon is Magmar, which is part Fighting type, therefore it's weak to flying. Feraligatr is easily able to knock it out in a single hit, winning us the fight with ease. It would seem that Koga is the new Bruno. Speaking of Bruno, his ground type team is next. Jumpluff is first, so I lead with Yanma, and thanks to a critical hit, we can take it down with a Gust and Wing Attack combo while only taking minimal damage from Giga Drain. Steelix is next, but all it ever does is poison us with Toxic and set up a Sandstorm, so this actually allows us to bring it down in 3 hits from Petal Dance. Next up is Politoed, which is 4 times weak to grass, but we're confused, so I decide to switch in Noctowl. His ancient powers are doing decent damage, but we can still 2-shot it with an Iron Tail. Mr. Mime comes out next, only to immediately Baton Pass into Togetic. We get lucky though when our Iron Tail gets a defense drop, which actually means our second one is enough to KO. Mr. Mime comes back out again, only to immediately Baton Pass for a second time. He sends in Poliwrath, who can actually take our hits surprisingly well, but he's not dealing too much damage to us in return. We can bring it down to yellow health before fainting to a few vital throws, so I send in Yanma. He does actually fully heal up, but our Razor Leaf hits for a good chunk of its health, and we can bring it down to the red with a Petal Dance, before fainting to a Body Slam. I send in Electrode to finish it off with an Icy Wind, and now all that's left is this Mr. Mime. I'm pretty sure this thing can't actually attack a flying type, as it only ever chooses to use Baton Pass, so a couple of hits from Electrode easily take care of it, and we win the fight. Now there's just one more member of the Elite Four left to face. Karen leads with an Electabuzz, who faints in a couple of wing attacks from Feraligatr after using a Screech. Alakazam outspeeds us and hits an Ancient Power for over half, as our wing attack does about 50% as well. I decide to switch in Noctowl, who doesn't take too much from an Ancient Power, but she decides to fully heal it up the next turn. An Iron Tail followed by a lucky crit Air Slash take it down though, and next up is Lantern. Once again, neither of us are really doing much damage to the other, but Noctowl can once again come out on top, and take it out with a flurry of Air Slashes. Sand Slash is next, and I can hit one more Iron Tail for good measure, before we get taken out. I can just send in Feraligatr though and sort it out with a couple of wing attacks. And next up is Blissey, who doesn't take as much as I'd expect from a Steel Wing, and takes us out with a Sludge Bomb. A lucky Rock Slide flinch from Electrode means we can take it out without taking any damage, and Karen's final Pokemon is a Houndoom, which is weak to our flying types. One Fly isn't quite enough, leaving it in the red, as she lands a powerful Dark Pulse. She doesn't heal up or anything though, so we can just finish it off with a Flame Wheel for the win. Now all that's left for us to do is face the champion. Lance starts off the fight with a Fortress, which is a Bug and Flying type. I lead with Electrode as we have that 4x super effective Rock Slide, and it is an easy KO, giving us the early 6-5 lead. Ampharos is next, but he's a little bit too much for us to handle. I can almost take it out with a few Icy Winds and Flies, but ultimately we just fall short. I send in Yanma to finish it off with a Razor Leaf, and next out is Octillery. It's a Poison type, meaning it can't really touch Noctowl, but he does unfortunately set up a Minimize. We miss a couple of times, but his Giga Drains are hardly touching us, so we were never really in any danger, and it eventually goes down. Next up is the beast that is Tyranitar. I thought we'd have real issues dealing with this, but he actually chooses to use Thrash. Thanks to him being locked into that move, we're able to bring it all the way down to about a quarter of its health, before we faint to a Dark Pulse. Feraligatr can come in though, and its wing attack is just enough to finish it off. That could have gone a lot worse. Skarmory is next, and this could be a real threat to the team, with it being an Ice and Rock type, but we get a great stroke of luck. Our 4x super effective Steel Wing does a great chunk of its health, and he actually misses the Rock Slide, which no doubt would have done a lot of damage. This means we can finish it off with one more, and now we're down to Lance's final Pokemon, Wobbuffet. It's part fighting, so it's weak to flying, and wing attack does a great amount. I was bracing myself for a counter here, but he instead uses Aura Sphere, which we resist. We easily tank the hit, and deliver the finishing blow with one more wing attack. We win the fight against Lance, and beat Pokemon FOOL'S GOLD using only flying types. Well, we may have beaten the champion, but we're not done just yet. Before we can say that we've done it, we need to beat the 8 Kanto gyms, and face off against Red. I'll skip over the gym fights, so let's move straight on to the final showdown. Red starts off with a Fearow, so I send in Electrode, and go for the 4x super effective Icy Wind. It doesn't do as much as I'd expected, and we get hit by a massive Outrage, but we're able to survive and finish it off with a Rock Slide, and next up is Blastoise. We get a lucky flinch with Rock Slide, meaning we can do some solid damage before going down to a Hydro Pump. I send in Yanma to hit a couple of Petal Dances, bringing it down low enough before fainting to a Dragon Pulse, so that we can send in our own Fearow to finish it off with a Dragon Claw. Raichu is next and could be a real threat to the team. It would have been too if we didn't get some insane luck. I send in Noctowl as he misses a Blizzard, and then we hit a huge Iron Tail as he decides to set up a Light Screen. He then misses Blizzard for a second time, so we can take it down with a second Iron Tail. That really couldn't have gone any better. Charizard is next, so I switch into Weezing, as it is one of our bulkier team members. In hindsight, I probably should have just blown up with Explosion, but instead I just start hitting Flies. Ultimately, we just fall short of a KO, leaving it on red health before we go down. I send in Firo, who does get outsped and hit by a crunch, but we can survive and finish it off with a drill peck from there. Next up is Snorlax. Sorry, I can never get over that sprite. We get some more great luck as he never actually lands a dynamic punch, and we can take it out in just 2 drill pecks. We're now down to Red's final Pokemon, Venusaur. I outspeed it and hit a drill peck for about 50% of its health, before fainting to a flamethrower. Noctowl's going to be pretty useless against this, so our hopes rest on the shoulders of Feraligatr. I go for Wing Attack, but we get outsped. I thought he'd go for Flamethrower again, but he actually just spams Synthesis. This would have been a problem, but we're dealing more damage with Wing Attack than he can heal off. This means eventually our attacks become too much for it, and it finally goes down. We beat Red, and finally win the run. Well, this may come as a surprise, but I actually think I preferred the Flying type run to the Ice type run. The team this time was a lot more varied, and we had some real standout members. Feraligatr was an absolute beast once you get over the way it looks, and Pokemon like Electrode and Noctowl were solid members as well. Yanma fell off in usefulness a little bit towards the end, but in the early game it was a monster. And Weezing, while not particularly useful, still has the best design of anything ever. That's 2 types down, which means there's just 1 more left to go. Join me in the next Monotype challenge, where we'll be putting the fighting type through its paces. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's pretty much all I've got for you today, so as always, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.